Hey, howdy everyone. Welcome back to the Saturn Slam Review. Post Kurt's Wrestling Burnout Edition. Happens every year
back
at
on
the
track.
WrestleMania. Yeah.
While we were out, I redid The Office here. Now I've included a decorative Big Mac.
It really
bag
ties the whole room together.
and trash bag. I call it feng shit.
I heard about that. HGTV was on in the background of my dentist's office.
It costs. We're just a family of four. He works as a janitor. We're looking for something in the $5 to $6 million range. Just a little house to settle down in.
He works as a janitor, and I sharpen colored pencils for a living. Our budget is $9 million. We want something that's close to the beach and also close to downtown, which is on the other side of the world of the beach. All right,
and it's gonna cost a lot of money in the bank.
Yeah, Money in the Bank, our anniversary pay-per-view, as it turns out. First show we ever recapped was Money in the Bank 2016. Here we are 3 years later, doing it again, and what a show this was. Actually, it was a pretty good show, top to bottom, but some head-scratching WWE moments for sure.
Yep.
And we will recount them. Usos beat Daniel Bryan and Rowan in a non-title match. Why the SmackDown Tag Team Champions lost to a team that isn't even the number one contender for the Raw Tag Team Championship is a mystery. But, and especially when you consider they pinned Daniel Bryan, who just a few months ago was WWE Champion.
It's a little bit of a head scratcher.
It's a puzzler, that's for sure. Bayley won the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This match was better than I thought it'd be, given who was in it. I thought everyone acquitted themselves pretty well. They used Carmella to her maximum effectiveness, which is not much at all. And to my knowledge, she wasn't actually hurt. It was a work, as they say.
Oh man, gotta work.
Ember Moon hit an eclipse off of the top of the ladder and did not break her tailbone, so that's a plus. It wasn't like it was just a little bit higher than the top turnbuckle. It was a ladder from the outside, so they were wise.
Now, I only noticed this for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, but I have a feeling that this extends to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match as well. I'll talk about it a little more, but I feel like the fresh NXT talent did more of the ladder spots than the main roster veterans, and I don't know if that was the case on this match too.
Well, the most recent call-up would have been Ember Moon.
And
she's been on the main roster for a year. I guess Nikki Cross, never mind. She's been up for a while now, so there's no one like really new.
That's true.
Per se.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed is my pet peeve for this whole pay-per-view. I just don't think I'm a fan of the seesaw into pop-up sort of spot. What's that one where the other guy is standing up and the person doing the bump leans back and the other person seesaws on their knees and then they pop up? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It's like where it looks like they're gonna do a monkey flip, but it's not. And they kind of roll out of it.
Yeah, that just took me out of it every time I saw it. I'm like, oh no, this is not good.
Yeah. Well, like I said at the beginning, Bayley won this match after it was kind of anticlimactic finish. Sonya Deville is muscling Mandy Rose up the ladder, and Bayley climbs the other side of the ladder and just pie faces Mandy Rose, and she and Sonya take a tumble. And then she pulled down the briefcase, and the place went nuts. So Really, with this and what happened later on in the show, they did a lot to rehab Bayley in one night. So it just goes to show no one's beyond repair, except maybe Dolph Ziggler.
They can do it. They just haven't tried hard enough.
Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe had a match for the United States Championship. It went all of 1 minute and 40 seconds. Rey won with a Hurricane Rana, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was
exactly.
wasn't it kind of like a blink and you'll miss it sort of finish where like Joe,
it was
just seized that opportunity.
Yeah, it was a flash pin, but despite this going 1 minute and 40 seconds, it lasted long enough for Samoa Joe to get a pretty nasty cut.
Yeah,
and
he's like
bleed.
He had like blood going down, crying down. I was like, "That's good, Mother Nature. That's good work."
Yeah.
Good
I don't understand this feud. They've traded wins in 1 minute matches, and Ray's already hurt, so that U.S. title is probably going to be back on Joe before too long.
Yeah, and the Sun was in it for some reason. I don't know what that angle was.
Trying to bring Dominic in. I mean, he's trained. He trained under Lance Storm at his wrestling school. Dude's huge. So, I mean, they definitely want to bring him in. I don't know where they're bringing him in. He has not gotten physically involved in any of these angles. So I don't fucking know.
Yeah, this is why we have the developmental roster. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Put them on. You can get some nice cross promo stuff going.
Shane McMahon wrestled The Miz in a steel cage match. Coming off of their no holds barred, falls count anywhere, smoke and mirrors extravaganza at WrestleMania, they decided it'd be a great idea to combine these two into a cage where they'd actually have to wrestle. For 13 minutes, they attempted to wrestle, and it was not very good.
There's not a lot of wrestling happening.
The highlight, or low light, depending upon how you look at it, is when Miz came off the top rope with the sorriest, I think it was a frog splash. It had the general body mechanics of a frog splash, but it did not resemble in any way, shape, or form a frog splash that you would be proud of. And that was really this match in a nutshell, except the finish was just perfect WWE.
Oh fuck! Where he just let's show Shane shirtless. That's what all the kids want to see.
He actually is in better shape than I would have thought, given how terrible his cardio is.
Yeah. I mean, he can be in a ring for 13 minutes. So,
He can. He will barely be standing by the end of it, but he can sure be in the ring.
He needs a water cooling unit. So
he fucking leaves a puddle every time he bumps. So Shane McMahon wins again. I hope this feud is over. Miz has been on Raw a few times. I haven't been watching Raw at all because it's terrible.
Okay. Have you been watching SmackDown? Have you been watching any of this to understand what the hell the Wildcard has done for these programs?
Well, I don't watch them, but I listen to several podcasts that recap the shows, and the Wildcard is the attempt to increase the star power of both brands so that they don't actually have to put effort into developing new stars for each brand. So, like, a random amount of people can be on either show any given week. Like, Kofi has been on Raw the past couple weeks, and Roman has been on both shows a lot, and The Miz, and it's unclear whether tag teams count as one or two wildcard slots. It's a mess.
Doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't.
So, you know how NXT solved this problem of trying to have a gimmick where people from other programs came on the show for a little bit of extra pizzazz? They just fucking did it.
Yeah.
You just had Bayley and Sasha come
They
on
just
in.
showed up.
And everyone goes, oh, they're in Florida.
They probably still live here.
Wow. That does tie into this week's NXT. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Tony Nese wrestled Ariya Davari in a match that was fine. I really have no reason left to care about the Cruiserweight division. No offense to any of these gentlemen. They have been done a disservice. And I think a lot of those initial contracts are going to be up soon. So it'll be interesting to see who sticks around and who leaves. I think most of them, unless they get a guarantee that they will be taken off 205 Live and put into a better spot, should head for the door. Yeah. This match was inoffensive, but there's no excitement around the Cruiserweight division, and it's not quite the same level of competition. Like, no offense to Tony Nese, but he is not the same level of champion that Cedric Alexander or Buddy Murphy were in terms of having matches that can get a crowd that doesn't really care into it.
Right. Yeah. Cruiserweights are always fighting an uphill battle, and you need some real standout talent to make it shine.
Yeah, it's sad but true. Becky Lynch wrestled the first of her 2 matches tonight against Lacey Evans.
The women's block.
Yeah. Lacey Evans was fine for about 2 minutes. Problem was, this match went 8. She got real lost at points where Becky had to shout at the top of her lungs. Spots. And it was kind of a mess, but eventually, mercifully, Becky locked her in the disarmor and got the submission there. And then post-match, Lacey laid her out with a woman's right.
Yeah.
And Charlotte came down and was like, I want to wrestle now. And Becky Lynch looked real upset about it. Which is not the look you want your conquering hero babyface champion to have. She should have been game for it. And there's no reason to feel sympathetic for her because this was your dumb idea to wrestle twice on this show. But anyway, they had a match, and shock of shocks, Charlotte Flair won the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah, I think it was a Lacey Evans interference, right?
Yeah.
She got in there because she was like, I'm angry. And Vince said I could have more airtime.
Yeah, she got involved and laid, or maybe this is where she got hit with the woman's right. And
yeah, because wasn't Becky was laying down with her face outside the ropes, right on the apron, and
yeah, so she hit her with the woman's right, and rather than having Charlotte pin Becky right there to both protect Becky and put over Lacey's finish, she instead kicked out, got up, and got hit with, you ready for this? A big boot, and was pinned 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. The first time ever Charlotte has pinned someone with a big boot. So really making the champion look great with that.
Yikes. Yeah. And the rebound, the one piece of redemption to this.
Yeah, Lacey and Charlotte come in and they start double teaming Becky, but then Bayley runs down to make the save. And she whacks people with her briefcase and then figures, hey, might as well cash this in. So she does that, climbs up top, hits Charlotte with a top rope elbow drop, gets the pin, and is your SmackDown Women's Champion. The place went nuts for this. Everyone was really into Bayley until she cut a promo and mentioned Sasha Banks, and no one was into Sasha Banks. A loud boos for Sasha Banks, and then she talked about herself again, and people were starting to cheer again. So, yeah, the Sasha Banks saga is ongoing, but it appears that the crowd has run out of fucks to give about her contract situation.
Yeah. Yup.
I can't
I
really
didn't even
say
care.
that I noticed she's gone.
Yep.
Whether that's
Oh,
a
well.
comment on her ability or WWE's booking of her, that's for you to decide. Roman Reigns beat Elias. This match was the best possible version of this match. Elias hit Roman with a guitar backstage. He got to do his thing that's over, which is the concert. And he didn't have to do his thing that's not over, which is the wrestling, because Roman just came down, speared him, and pinned him in 10 seconds. This is the best possible version of this match. This match would have been god-awful if it were 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, or 10 minutes. 10 seconds is the perfect length for a Roman Reigns Elias match.
It's just distilled. This is one, like, you could pick this whole match up in a dropper and you put in a bottle that said Roman Elias match essence of.
So good on WWE for realizing that this match would have been terrible if they gave it any sort of time and just put Roman over strong. Everyone got to do what was over. Roman came out, looked like a badass. He killed the guy. He got cheered. Maybe he had to do this a little more often. Funny that a guy who wins in convincing fashion and doesn't cut stupid promos is over. Who'd have thought?
Just that easy.
It's really not that hard. You've been doing it for years. You've lost your way. Seth Rollins wrestled AJ Styles in a really, really good match. I'd say it was probably solid 4.5. I don't think it got to 4 3/4 for me, at least, because it was a little slow in spots. I think it picked up, but I think it took a little longer to hit, second and third gear than I would have preferred.
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake, this was a fantastic match.
Yeah, it was. The feeling I got out of this match, I also say 4.5. Was that just these guys? It feels like just letting the old bulls out to the pasture to run. They take their time.
This is a match that both of them have wanted for a long time. This is a match that I've wanted pretty much ever since AJ Styles came to WWE. We got teases of it in the past, but this was the first time they had a one-on-one match. Not quite ever. They had one match like back in 2004 or something like that. A long time ago in a small indie, wasn't that big a match. But yeah, this match was big. It was for the catch-up belt, which they're trying to rehab. Seth's got to hold this for a long time and have good matches like this, and eventually people will respect the belt as a worthy prize. Yeah, they went out. They had a great match. They had the second greatest curb stomp reversal of all time, where AJ Styles reversed the curb stomp into a Styles Clash, which I know as I say this doesn't sound like it should be possible, but I assure you it happened.
Bending time and space.
My one objection is that that's such a big move and such an awesome reversal that really had to be the finish of the match if you were going to do it. Like the RKO out of the curb stomp, it just had to be the finish of the match, but it wasn't. Which I don't know. I feel like if you were going to do that, unless this is the only match they're going to have, which makes me sad if that's the case, you should have saved that for when AJ wins the title, if he was going to win the title. But that's a minor gripe in what was an otherwise fantastic match. Seth won with the stomp, and it was good. There was much rejoicing.
It will be the reason to go back to this year's Money in the Bank.
That is correct.
If not the ending, just for the memes.
Kofi Kingston wrestled Kevin Owens. This was a good match. Crowd was kind of dead for it, for most of it anyway, because of the match that went on right before it. But they popped when Kofi won, so they're still in the Kofi. Match was fine, like I said. Everyone hit their big spots. No complaints.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens,
easy, yeah.
don't know what he's earmarked for next, but it should be interesting.
That's just about the right way to put it. What's he's on deck for? Yeah, and then we went into our big old main event.
So
the ladder match.
Earlier in the show, Sami Zayn was found strung up, and it was presumed that Braun Strowman was behind this attack, and he was ejected from the arena. Come to find out, probably also somewhere in here, Lars Sullivan destroyed the Lucha House Party.
Oh yeah, there's that.
And but it turns out that the perpetrator likely was Brock Lesnar, as he came out and won this match. He was the 8th man,
following Nia Jax rules.
Yeah.
You can just come out.
But the rest of this match was pretty good. Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin kind of beat on the small guys for a while. Randy Orton had his I'm going to back suplex everyone off of this particular announce table streak going.
Mm-hmm.
He had like 4 or 5 of those in a row. Finn Balor took some really stupid bumps for a guy who's getting up there in years.
Yep. And like I said before, I just sort of noticed as the guys who I recognize as like being, the NXT, when I think in my head, the NXT guys, they were the ones who were primarily taking a lot of these crazy bumps and doing stuff. Like Baron Corbin just sort of just walked around, he got up there a little bit.
Well, everyone in this match, with the exception of Randy Orton and Mustafa Ali, and I guess Brock Lesnar as well, was on NXT for a while.
That is true. We're getting to the full replacement. We're getting the whole Theseus ship going on here.
Yep, the old guard is being phased out.
Except for the fucking Super Showdown.
Part of me, the part of me that's a wrestling fan and doesn't consider things like time, is really excited about Undertaker and Goldberg finally having a match. But then there's the part of me that realizes that these are 2 50-plus-year-old men who, if this match was going to happen, it should have happened like in 2011.
Yeah. I can predict this match now. If you just give me 2 cardboard standees of Goldberg and fucking Undertaker, that's about as flexible as these boys are going to be.
Yeah, it'll be a short match. I don't know. I can't tell you who's going to win. I would hope the Undertaker. When in doubt, bet on the Undertaker, because Vince and company will never let WCW rest in peace. So the WCW guy is probably not going to go over the WWE guy when push comes to shove.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brock came out as Mustafa Ali was going to win. The production guys were told, several people working for the company were told that Ali was winning, but then Brock came out and won. So why you're working the boys, I don't know, but that was that. Brock won and gave birth to the Boombox Money in the Bank briefcase meme, which has been great. But that and the Firefly Funhouse have been the only good things on Raw. And
Yep.
Brock Lesnar has very few dates, so we aren't going to see the Boombox.
I heard, I guess this week's Raw was particularly egregious on the account of the fact that there was, I think, like 5 minutes of wrestling within the first hour of the show.
Yeah, like the first hour had 1 minute and 46 seconds of wrestling, I think.
Awful.
Which is particularly awful considering that is WWE's response to Double or Nothing, AEW's first show, which was all around a very good show. That's how they responded. Sami Zayn mentioned AEW in a promo, which I have heard both ways was part of the script and not part of the script. But other than that, no mention of AEW, and clearly no effort put into making a product to compete with it. So
Vince has forgotten. He's like, what's a rivalry in wrestling? What's Nitro, right? That's how we did. That was the only one.
Yeah. Well,
can't do it
once
again.
they get TV, hopefully, they'll have a little bit of a fire lit under their ass, and it'll improve. So their pre-show here featured a 21-man battle royal. It was they're in Vegas. The whole theme was casino. They had a set that had like poker chips and dice and stuff, and it added flavor to the event. It wasn't like WWE where every fucking show looks the same.
I want days, Bash on the beach back.
Give me Club Lavella. So there were 4 groups, well, 5 groups technically, based on suits, clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades. A lot of people came out and had their time in the sun. Luminaries such as, just a lot of names like MJF, Orange Cassidy, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, Brian Pillman Jr., who was the spitting image of his father. It is creepy. I would sooner believe that he is a clone of Brian Pillman rather than the progeny of Brian Pillman.
Strong genes. Really strong genes.
Billy Gunn, Glacier. Yes, that Glacier from WCW. Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Tommy Dreamer, Orange Cassidy, and the Joker and eventual winner, Hangman Adam Page. He won this and will be he will be wrestling for the AEW Championship on, I believe, their next show, which is, I believe, called All Out, which will be hailing from the Sears Center in Chicago, the same building that All In was at.
Oh, cute.
Yes. So Adam Page won by last eliminating MJF, who is a superstar in the making. This guy is an amazing promo. He's one of the best heels in the business today. He's going places. So is Adam Page too.
Full disclosure, I haven't seen this yet. I'm just looking at MJF's fucking portrait on the wiki, and yes, I can see it. In a still image, he oozes heel. Like, what? Amazing.
Kip Saban defeated Sammy Guevara in a singles match, also in the pre-show. It was fine. The main card kicked off with SoCal Uncensored against the Strong Hearts, which were Seema T-Hawk and El Liedman from Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which is a Chinese promotion that All Elite Wrestling has partnered with. This was mainly meant as a showcase to show off what these Chinese talent can do, and they were pretty good. Helped that they were in there with SoCal Uncensored, who got the win with the best Meltzer driver ever, and it was a solid 6-man tag. Dr. Britt Baker defeated Nyla Rose, Kylie Ray, and surprise 4th entrant Awesome Kong, who got a massive ovation, even though she's very limited in what she can do in the ring these days. She is still very good at being Awesome Kong. But Britt Baker, who they are really pushing as their top female staller, Adam Cole's better half, got the win here. In this pretty good, every match on this show was solid. The Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent Beretta beat Angelico and Jack Evans in a tag team match. The best friends went for a big hug after the match, but the lights went out and some men appeared and started beating up everyone. No one knew who these men were. As we've come to find out, they wrestle by the name of the Super Smash Brothers, which is a name that will have to be changed for TV because Nintendo is a very litigious company.
It's going to be the easiest thing if they're if they're committed. Just change the S to B, Super Bash Brothers. Got him.
Yeah.
It's not the Bludgeon Brothers.
It's a different thing.
Different type of trauma.
There was a 6-woman tag featuring all Japanese women, which I guess I've heard is going to be like their hook. That's going to be the thing they feature. Going to be their version of the cruiserweights on Nitro. They were going to have a lot of Japanese women wrestle, and if this match is any indication, I think that's a pretty good idea. This match was awesome. I was not familiar with any of these women going into the match, except I've heard of Aja Kong before. But coming out of this match, I have a great deal of respect for the talent of all these women. So, pardon me if I butchered these names. Japanese is not my strong suit. Hikaru Shida, Ryo Abe, Ryu Mizunami. That team defeated Aja Kong, Yuka Sakakazi, and Imai Sakura. In what was a really solid, probably better than the SoCal Uncensored Strong Hearts 6-person, if I'm being perfectly honest. Then the match of the night, Cody, who apparently can't use the Rhodes name, but Dustin Rhodes can. Like, I don't understand that. They just called him Cody, no Rhodes. Like, Brandy was listed as Brandy Rhodes. Dustin was listed as Dustin Rhodes, but Cody was just Cody. I'm confused.
It's me, just Cody.
But he came out. There was one really petty and cringy thing in his entrance where he took a sledgehammer to a throne done up to look like the throne that Triple H uses for his WrestleMania entrance at sometimes. The whole thing came across as unnecessarily petty. And if you wanted to call out WWE, this match, having this great match that WWE thought wasn't good enough to be on WrestleMania, that's better revenge than hitting a fucking throne with a sledgehammer and a weak-ass pyrotechnic display could ever be. You know, the old saying, revenge, the best revenge is a life well lived, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a great match.
The best revenge is a match well worked.
Yeah. So this match was very emotional, told a great story. They went out there, they really left it all in the ring. Dustin did a blade job and just bled a gusher. Like, this was the only thing I can compare this to. Was the Hell in a Cell match between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker in 2002, where Undertaker got hit with the steps and like there was just a dent in his head and blood just fucking like a faucet poured out the entire match. This was almost to that level of blood loss. Like, the fact that he was able to wrestle this match and not go into shock was quite impressive. Cody eventually won with the second crossroads of the match, and Dustin went to take his boots off in the ring like he was going to retire, but Cody came in and said, no, you don't get to retire. I've got a tag match against the Young Bucks. I don't need a partner. I don't need a friend. I need my older brother. And they hugged, and there were people, grown men crying in the crowd, and it was a very emotional moment. And just great. This is what good pro wrestling looks like.
This is a match you can build a brand on.
Yeah. This was if he wasn't already a star, this made Cody a star, and Dustin was in the fucking best shape I've ever seen him in. I don't know how many more matches he's going to have. He'll probably work a pretty light schedule, but he can still go, and he's going to be a valuable hand for them. Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers had a match for the AAA World Tag Team Championship. The Young Bucks were the champs going into this match. This match, in many ways, was the polar opposite of the match before it, where it was moves from start to finish. A lot of them were good moves, but it was, in a lot of ways, a Young Bucks match. So if you like that style, you'll like this match. If you don't like that style, you will not really like this match. But they hit everything and the kitchen sink, and eventually the Young Bucks won with a one-armed Meltzer driver because Pentagon did his arm break spot on Matt Jackson earlier in the match, which in Lucha Underground would have put him out for weeks, but on here it was just another move that Matt sort of sold. And that led into the main event, Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega, with the winner going on to face Adam Page for the AEW Championship, the same championship that was revealed when Bret Hart came out to reveal it. It's a fairly nice looking belt. I'm not like enamored. It's like if the IWGP Championship had a baby with a UFC title, it would be the AEW Championship, which is not a bad belt design. It's better than the Universal title. I'll give them that. So they went out there and they had a match that was, a lot like, it was different in its own way, but it's Chris Jericho at this point in his career is developing a style of match where it's just it's a nasty brawl, and this was a fairly nasty brawl. Kenny Omega's nose got broken at some point in the match. No one's really sure where it happened, but it happened, and
snuck it in.
They did some crazy shit. Jericho won after hitting a code breaker, and then his new finish, which he's calling the Judas effect. It is a spinning back elbow. It was kind of underwhelming. After the match, he picked up a microphone and he says, I don't care about you fans. I don't care about you marks. Everyone should thank me. I am AEW. I'm the reason that this show happened. I'm the reason that we have a TV deal. I'm the reason this. So why don't you come on and thank me? And he holds his arms up to get thanked, and the crowd goes ballistic. And he's like, yeah, that's right, thank me. But they're going ballistic because one Jonathan Moxley is running in through the crowd. He goes up, he dives in the ring, he stares down Jericho. Jericho's not quite sure what to make of it, but Moxley rushes him, hits Dirty Deeds, gets up, hits Dirty Deeds on the referee. Total Stone Cold Steve Austin, take no prisoners approach. Drags Kenny Omega out. They brawl onto the poker chips. Gives him a Dirty Deeds on the poker chips, tosses him off onto the stage, and stands tall at the end of the night. He was loving every minute of being Jon Moxley again. This was not Dean Ambrose. This was Jon Moxley, and I'm a fan of Jonathan Good, and I like what I saw from here, and I'm excited to see him going forward. But yeah, coming out of this show, it looks like the top single stars for right now anyway are going to be Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Cody, and Jon Moxley. Those are your top four guys.
I like it.
That's a pretty good lineup. You got a lot of good second tier guys like MJF, Jungle Boy, and Brian Pillman Jr. who are on the rise. So if they play their cards right and ego doesn't get in the way where, the Young Bucks and Cody and Kenny, you go over all the time, and the young guys can't move up the card if they're smart enough to know when to back away. I think this has a lot of potential, and I think even if you don't like the Young Bucks and the Elite, and I certainly am not a huge fan of either of those factions, I think you should, if you're a wrestling fan, be rooting for AEW to succeed, because having multiple options is never a bad thing.
Yes.
Only good can come of it. So, strong show. We'll see how the follow-up is, and we'll see how their weekly television is. Lot to come on this, but good first impression.
Yep. Keep it up, boys and girls. And then moving from the past into the future with the go home show for the upcoming Takeover 25. We have this week's NXT, which is special. I think it's nice to see the Takeover 25 just gets to be its own thing. It's not playing buddy to a main roster pay-per-view.
This is the first NXT special. Actually, I don't think that's true. This is the first one since Takeover Respect to not be in conjunction with a WWE pay-per-view, but it's the first one not to air from Full Sail and be a standalone event. But they sold out the building. It's not the biggest building they could have run, but they sold it out. As far as a take-home show goes for TakeOver 25, I felt this was a little bit underwhelming. They did not have a lot of in-ring angles to set up some of these matches. They only really gave lip service to some of them and with video packages.
I almost feel like it was all set up. It's the last week was almost more of the go home show.
It felt more like a go home show last week, that's for sure. But this is what this was. Mia Yim beat Bianca Belair with the check your neck. Normally, I praise NXT booking for being very consistent and logical, but what they're doing with Bianca Belair doesn't make a lot of sense to me. She got choked out twice in title matches against Shayna Baszler, which logically would make you think that they're building to a big third encounter where she finally wins the big one, and they could still be doing that, but they're taking a really funny path to get there.
Yeah, they've decided to do this Io Shirai Candice thing, which Candice heel turn? Eh?
I feel that, and I said that in the interview, but that'd be kind of out of left field. I don't know. We'll see. Turns. There's a lot of turns going on. Bianca looked like she turned babyface, but now she's clearly a heel again, and that doesn't do her any favors either. And she got pinned here. And she hadn't been pinned to that point. She still had that going for her, but now that's gone. I guess if this sets up Mia Yim being the next challenger for Shayna Baszler after Io Shirai, or maybe she's challenging. Well, no, because they're both baby faces. I think Shayna's going to retain. Probably due to Candice either intentionally or unintentionally costing her the match. But yeah, like that's the only acceptable outcome for this is if Mia Yim gets the next shot at Shayna. It's been a while since I've seen Mia Yim wrestle, and she is fine. She's not exciting, I think is the way I would put it. She has some moves. She does them well. She doesn't wrestle with... There's nothing that really stands out about her. Like, she doesn't wrestle really fast-paced. She's not, like, really strong or, like, a crazy good mat technician. But she does what she has to do. She's solid, if not a little unimpressive. And she got the win here.
I did like, even despite the consequences, I did like how the finish actually happened. That was a neat little spot with the hair into the protect your neck.
Yes. Especially, I like that, like, the booking of the match itself in a vacuum. Well, not really in a vacuum, but I like how it built off their last match where she used the braid, Bianca did, to get the win. And now Mia here used it to get the win. But they're really cooling down Bianca, and start and stop pushes never really helped anyone. So it's a little bit puzzling. We'll see what they do. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They have earned that much. But I don't know if I really agree with how they're booking the recent college graduate.
Yes. And then there was a promo about the Tyler Breeze Velveteen Dream match. Like I said before, they just brought Tyler Breeze back. They're just like, here, he wants to be back. NXT loves him. Let's have this thematic match happen.
I hope he's here for more than just this program. I would like him to, be around a little more. I think he can add a lot. A lot of people have forgotten how good Tyler Breeze is, and I'm looking forward to this match where he's going to go out and remind everyone just how good he was before Vince McMahon got his clutches on him.
Said, we'll put you in the comedy relief sketch promo slot.
And he was great at that.
Yeah.
It's a shame really how some of these people get mishandled. But he's back now and where he belongs, and you're going to get a real nice match out of this here. There was a photo shoot with Baszler and her cronies. Reporter went to interview about Io Shirai, clean house with a kendo stick last week. Baszler noted that Shirai can't use weapons and claims she has no friends left in NXT. Baszler said her own friends would be at ringside for the title match on Saturday. And then we had the rebuttal interview where Kathy Kelly interviewed Io Shirai, who said she didn't need weapons or friends to beat Baszler, but Candice LeRae snuck up out of nowhere and said that she would have Io's back at TakeOver. And Peter exists. I swear it. Have we lost Peter? There he is. We got him back.
I'm out of the time loop.
We got him back. So I just recap the whole Baszler and Shirai rebuttal promos.
Sure.
And then we had Kushida versus Drew Gulak in what was a match.
Mm-hmm.
It was more submission based. This was not quite to the level of Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak from a few months ago, where it was like, well, this match just came out of nowhere. It was great. But it was good. I no problems with this match. They're building up Kushida. He hasn't really had a match yet where it's been like a real back and forth affair. I mean, this one was kind of back and forth, but it still was mostly Kushida. He hasn't had a match where, he hasn't been put in a situation to have a great match yet.
Right.
But he's had good matches.
I guess my only thoughts on this were like, when I was watching this, I'm like, it's a submission based match. I like them every once in a while. It's like pistachios. It's a nice little treat. And this was okay.
Yeah, it was fine for what it was. It got Kushida over, and it worked for what it needed to do.
Here, roulette bet for you, Kurt. Okay. Who do you think his first feud is going to be?
Kushida?
Yeah.
I think that, right now I'd handicap the odds at being high that he's going to feud with Velveteen Dream coming out of TakeOver. I feel like he's a logical contender some point down the line for the North American title. Whether that's Dream or someone else, I can't really say right now, but depending upon what happens with the NXT title in the next few months, it's hard to say. They could bring in someone from the outside, but he had his match with Cassius Ohno, and that was thankfully just a match. I mean, maybe they do more of Gulak here, but a lot of the other guys are already in programs, and there's not a lot of heels floating around out there that don't have programs right now.
Wild card shot. Is Keith Lee a heel?
I don't think so. I think he's hurt too.
Oh, okay. Well, that was gonna be my my dark horse bet.
Yeah, if he wasn't hurt, I would say Dijakovic. I think that would be a good. That'd be a hard program because both guys are on the rise, and it'd be tough to have one lose. But I think that's a good program for two guys who aren't going to be in a title picture right now. But I don't know. I think I think we've got a number of more weeks of this kind of match for Kushida before he gets a program. It's going to be the slow thing like Aleister Black. He just went out and he beat guys every week before he really got into a feud.
I was just going to say, it's his first feud is with Kona Reeves. No. Don't do it.
Wouldn't. I think he'll probably beat Kona Reeves at some point.
Yeah.
In the next few weeks, but hopefully that's not a feud. Our main event was Forgotten Sons versus Birch and Lorcan. It went about 7 or 8 minutes, and then DQ.
Yep. This was just the setup for this is the brawl setup.
The Street Profits came out, and they beat up the Forgotten Sons, and then they started to brawl with Lorcan and Birch. And then the Forgotten Sons came back in with chairs and whacked people, and then the Undisputed Era ran out. Well, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong ran out. And then Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly showed up, and they laid waste to everyone. Adam Cole got on the mic atop a ladder. They did their Ginyu Force pose, and he called out Riddle and Gargano, and that was the only time. Well, they did the video package for Cole and Gargano. I can't say that, but this was the only time that Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong and their match was acknowledged on this show.
I didn't even realize that was a match. That's how low key it is right now.
I'm sure it'll be a very good match, and everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, that match was good. How come we didn't talk more about this beforehand?"
Right. So yeah, and with that, the show ended and set up our card for Takeover 25, which is
it will be the Fatal 4-Way ladder match for the NXT Tag Team Championships between Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, the Street Profits, Forgotten Sons, and Undisputed Era. I think it's now or never with the Street Profits. If you're going to put the belts on them, I think now's the time to do it. They're getting over. They're improving. You don't have to put them on there for a long time, but if they don't win them now, I don't think they're ever going to win them. I think the safe bet is Undisputed Era to regain the belts. But hopefully they are wise enough not to put the belts on the Forgotten Sons. There are 3 good outcomes to this and 1 disaster. Hopefully they're smart enough to avoid the disaster.
Yes. And as a bonus, if the Undisputed Era gets it, I would say we're about halfway through the year here. This is probably the part where they can start making their turn into reclaiming the gold.
Yes.
If they're going to do that, which I predicted in January.
Yeah, we thought it'd be a little bit sooner.
Pans out. Gold. The gold will pan out.
In the tradition of NXT takeovers, that match will likely open the show. Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Breeze for the North American Championship. As much as I'd like to see Tyler Breeze win this and, be more of a fixture. I have a sinking feeling that this is more of a one-and-done program for him, and he'll be relegated back to main roster obscurity afterwards, a la that time Mickie James wrestled Asuka at TakeOver Toronto. This will be a great match, but I think Velveteen Dream retains for now. And then we have Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. Hard to pick against Riddle in this match. There's no title on the line. I think it will be competitive, and I think possibly we can see O'Reilly and Fish try to get involved, and perhaps the interference backfires a little bit, tease a little more dissension with the Undisputed Era. But hopefully that's just a red herring, and they all come out united and win gold. So I got Matt Riddle in that match. Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai. I don't know. This is starting to become like Groundhog Day. Like every fucking show is the same. Shayna and the Horsewoman come out and they beat someone down, and no one can beat Shayna, and it's been, like a year and a half of this shit, and it's starting to wear a little thin with me. I would like for the title to change here, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, in the best interests of the championship, or best interests of the belt, Io should get this. And then you could do the Candice heel turn and I won, and then she'll come out after. And
yeah, I mean, Shayna Baszler, she's done all she can do down here in NXT, and I think right now it's more of a case of her holding the belt hostage than really accomplishing anything additional with it. So I think she should drop the belt, but I don't know if Io Shirai is she's the best option available right now as a champion, but from a storyline perspective, I don't know if that's the catharsis that everyone would be hoping for. She's been bullying people for a lot. Mia Yim, I was on the Dakota Kai should be the one to beat her for a while. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. But yeah, I think soon they should get that belt off of her.
Right.
And then we have Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole in the rematch of possibly the best match I've ever seen. I don't know how it'd be possible to top that match, but I've said that before and been proven wrong.
Especially, in particular, with regard to
Jonathan
repeat
Gargano.
Matches involving Gargano. Yeah. He has a way of keeping things fresh.
Yeah, so I absolutely love to be proven wrong about this not being as good as their TakeOver New York match, which we were live in attendance for, and were loving hanging on every second.
We were just so excited we walked out right after the finish.
We were butthurt.
Yes.
And we had a train to catch.
That's also true.
We caught the train.
Yep.
Saved ourselves an hour. So this is a tough one. I thought that Adam Cole should have won at New York. I still think Adam Cole makes more sense as NXT champion because there are more baby faces than heels in the contender stack. If you were going to give Gargano his, moment in the sun where he finally climbed the mountaintop and have him lose here, I think that'd be fine. That's basically what happened with Sami Zayn. Of course, injury had a little bit to do with that, but Sami Zayn finally beat Neville for the NXT Championship, and then he dropped the belt to Kevin Owens on the next TakeOver. So there's precedent set for this. I think that'd be fine. The thing with Gargano is I think there's more money in the chase with him. So you can have him chase Cole for the belt for a while, or move him up to the main roster. Maybe this was just a brief detour, and he's going to get moved back up. Who knows? This is not a strong prediction. I do not have a high confidence rating in this pick, but I will pick Adam Cole to win the NXT Championship.
Yeah. Yep. I actually might stick with Johnny here. Only on the predicate or the prediction that on the contingency that Undisputed Era wins the tag team belts.
Right.
They win it. Adam Cole won't. If they don't, it's more likely that Adam Cole will. It's kind of a Schrodinger's belt sort of situation.
I have the flip scenario. I think the Street Profits are going to win the tag team belts, and Adam Cole's going to win the NXT Championship on the show. But I could very well be wrong. I would not be shocked if Gargano retained. But we shall see. This should be a great show. I've yet to be disappointed by an NXT takeover.
Yeah, it's great. It's great Saturday viewing.
Yeah. And that's going to be it for us in this hour-long Make Good episode of Saturn Slam Review. We will be back next week. Fingers crossed.
We will, with a review of TakeOver.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. I'll be in charge of that.
Okay.
No forgetting from me, no sirree, Bob.
You gotta hold me accountable because I often forget. Even though I put a reminder in my phone to tell me to do it, I often forget it.
All it takes is 1 week.
Yeah.
It's just like
fall out of the habit. All right, so that's going to do it for us. Catch you all next time.
Wrestle like it's 1995.
Only don't. That was a terrible year for wrestling.
Oh, okay. Peace.
Peace.